today is Tuesday, February 26th, and we're continuing right along in Module 4 with Lesson 14. And today we're adding on to yesterday. As you remember, yesterday our learning goal was I can use pictures. Remember, we're really focused on using pictures recently. I can use pictures to multiply unit fractions by unit fractions. But today there's one little tiny piece that's different about our learning goal. Today says I can use pictures to multiply unit fractions by non-unit fractions. Very nice. And we're going to talk about what that means and how that affects the pictures you draw. Okay? We are really clear with the fact that a unit fraction is any fraction where the numerator, or the number on top, is 1. And the reason for that is because it's 1 unit of whatever the size unit is. If I have the fraction 1/2, what kind of units am I talking about? Halves. And how many of them do I have? 1. If I have the fraction 1/8, what are the units? 8. And how many units of those do I have? 1. Okay? So therefore, what do you predict a non-unit fraction is? Well, it's any fraction where you don't just have one unit. So if I have 2/3, do I have 1/3 or more than 1/3? I have more than one unit. So 2/3 is a non-unit fraction. So any fraction that doesn't have 1 in the numerator means that there's more than one of those units. So that would be a non-unit fraction. Make sense? Rashid, give me a non-unit fraction.
4/6.
4/6. What are the units there? 6. And how many of them does he have?
4.
It's more than one unit. It's a non-unit fraction. Kazu, give me another non-unit fraction.
5/8.
5/8. In Kazu's fraction, what are the units? 8s. And how many of them does he have? 5, more than one unit. Karis, give me another non-unit fraction. 4/9. In Karis's fraction, what are the sized units she split her whole into? 9. 9ths, good. And how many does she have? 4, more than 1. So it's a non-unit fraction. Okay, does that make sense? Technical issues hopefully averted. We see now that she has 3/5. I shaded in black here. 3/5 the pen, and I labeled it 3/5. Just like yesterday. Yes? Yes? Now we know she said 1/3 of it to school, so we have to divide it into thirds, and then double shade in one of the thirds. Don't forget to label it 1/3. Now, all together, how many units her pan of brownies into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that means our units are 15ths. Right? But how many of those 15ths are doubly shaded in? 1, 2, 3. So 3 of the 15ths are doubly shaded in, which means these 15ths is what she brings to school. Is 3/15 in its simplest form? No, because 3 and 15 are both divisible by 3. That's right. 3 divided by 3 is, and 15 divided by 3 is. So she sends 1/5. So anytime you're looking at how you want to label your answers, you go back and read what the question's asking. The question's asking what fraction of the whole pan she sent to school. So she sent 1/5. Yeah, and whenever you're dealing with fractions of something, you always look for this word of. Wherever that word is, it's going to tell you what your label should be. So it's 1/5 of the whole pan. This time, we know that Jan has 3/4 of a pan of brownies. So we have to divide the whole pan of brownies into how many sections? Geffen? 4. Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they're in fourths, because I know the units are fourths. But how many of those units do we want? 3. So let's shade in 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. Now just shading and just drawing is very nice, but to be very complete, what do we have to make sure we do? Label. So we have to show this part right here is 3/4. When you label it, you want to label the part that you shaded. Okay, very good. She's not sending all 3/4 to school, however, Sawyer. What fraction of that is she sending to school? 1/3. So we have to divide these 3/4 into 3 equal-sized pieces. And I have to shade in how many of them? 1. We always shade the bottom one, but do we have to? Could I shade in this third? Yeah. I can label that that's 1/3. Okay, now, if I look back at that label that I underlined in green of the whole pan, it tells me that I need to consider the whole entire pan. My whole entire pan has now been shaded in, or has now been divided into how many sized units? 12, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Some of you are thinking I could just do 4 times 3, because I have 4 rows of 3, or 3 columns of 4. 4 columns of 3. So it's 12 pieces all together. And how many of them are doubly shaded in? 1, 2, 3. 3/12 or 1/4. And then what's my label? Of the whole pan.